Imagine living in California's safest city and then organized theft rings pop up 5 minutes away. That's exactly what pushed Matt to start questioning everything.
Why can't we live somewhere where the electrical bill is only $100 a month and I keep my house at 72? Why can't we live somewhere where you don't have to feel bad if you're fairer skinned, whether or not you're actually Caucasian? Because I'm not. I'm 50% Mexican. Nobody knows it, right? Why is it that we have to live somewhere where I'm raising 3 boys? And I hear from my friends who work in corporate America all day long that their CEOs are apologizing for hiring a white male for some position in the C-suite. Why do we have to do that? And no one has an answer for that. You should tolerate an $800 electrical bill because of why. You should feel bad about your skin color and the gender of your kids because of reason Z. Like, I'm actually one of 11 kids. I have 2 black adopted siblings. I don't want to be anywhere where anybody has to feel bad about their skin tone. They are invested in making sure that Idaho is portrayed, at least in the media, in the absolute worst possible light. They love that, because if people realize that you can live a fine life and there's nothing wrong with it. We're 7 minutes away from St. Luke's Hospital. We have medical access. Idaho is ranked number 11 with higher education in the country. No one knows that. We're ranked 49th for funding on education. We have the most bang for the buck. We have low tax rates. We have all of these great things. And unless somebody can convey to me a reason why you inherently have to tolerate lower quality of living and the strife that comes along with living in California, I call bullshit.
Woo. All right. Buckle up. If you live in California and feel out of place or unsafe, then this video is definitely for you. So I'm Craig Flood. I make videos each week to show you what living in Idaho is really like. Now, in this video, you'll hear the moment that Matt realized that California wasn't safe for his family. You'll hear why he chose Idaho over all the other Western states, and then what his first week in Idaho felt like, the emotional crash that he had, and a surprising encounter at a public school that changed everything for his kids.
Paint a picture for me. You live in California. You'd never been to Idaho. Your wife never been to Idaho. Your family never been here. What caused you to want to leave California?
Man, a lot. So I was born and raised in the same 5-mile radius. So I lived in Concord. I went to school at Berkeley. I was living in Danville. Everything was fine until it wasn't fine. And I'll tell you one thing that wasn't fine. There's a Costco in Danville. There's a jewelry counter right at the front. In the last 2 years that I lived there, we were in Contra Costa County. Contra Costa County made the news because it became the county that essentially decriminalized theft up to $900. They had to have an armed guard standing in front of the Costco, because people walked in, monkey wrenches, smash the glass, grab the jewelry, take off. They had people getting carjacked in Costco parking lot. Right before we just totally pulled the ejector cord, there were the 3 large notable thefts, organized crime at the end of 2021 in the Bay Area. There was one in Walnut Creek, there was one in Pleasanton, and there was one in San Francisco. Louis Vuitton, Coach, and I can't remember the other store, but this is where 80 cars pulled up to a shop. People ran out, smashed through the front windows, grabbed hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, and took off. Cops show up. You have, 7 cop cars instantly respond, but you got 80 cars with perpetrators leaving. These are things happening 5 minutes away from my house. And I live in the safest municipality in the state of California. So you have theft. You have a complete breakdown of any community. Socially, you can't even go to the parks without people yelling at you. Safety-wise, you can't take your kids to Costco anymore. What are you going to do?
So that moment hits you. You feel that way. Your wife feels that way. What do you do?
So I do jiu-jitsu. I've done it for a long time. My buddy Mike and I had started Danville Jiu-Jitsu in 2012. Mike, in 2020, moved to Eagle. He's like, listen, I'm going for 6 months. I actually had the idea first. I was like, there's this place like Eagle Meridian in Idaho. It looks really cool. And he was like, oh yeah, like I have a friend. So he had a friend who had moved up. He moves up.
It's like you're speaking about it like it's like the land before time, like the promised land. There's this place.
It was. There's this
in
place.
A valley.
Anyway, so the point is he moves up. He instantly starts sending like pictures, and he's like, dude, it's different here. And I reach out to him. I'm like, man, I think I got to come up. And he's like, come up? Yeah. Tomorrow. Come up today. And so I make a flight up here the week before Thanksgiving of 2021. I come up here. I tell them, I'm like, I'm not leaving without a house. So I drive all around, checking out all the different places, and we find a spot, and I put an offer in and get in a contract and fly home.
You tell your wife, like,
oh yeah, she
hey
knew.
babe, just so you know, I'm coming home.
She knew. She was ride or die. Like, it was a very, very difficult time. We got together at the end of college, and truly, for all intents and purposes, we had accomplished our dream that we set out to at the age of 22. We were kids, we had a vision, and we executed. And not only did we execute, like, we were both self-employed. She was an SAT tutor as well. It was like, this was our life. Like, we left our families. We left the only employment we had ever known. We left everything. My wife had never even been to Idaho. I had 48 hours up on her. That was it.
Yeah.
And so to get people like that to a point where they will leave their family and everything they've always known for a state they've never been to.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
You're leaving so much, all you've ever known.
I think people here that grew up here do not understand that. I tell people, I'm like, listen, the things you see on TikTok, that actually happened in my community. You have to put yourself in the headspace, because they're like, what the hell's wrong with the Californians? They move up here, they're all worked up. It's like, you don't understand. Just envision what it would take for you, having been born and raised in the Treasure Valley, whole life, to get up and move to a new state that you've never been to, move your whole family away from the grandparents, from the cousins, from the aunt and uncles. Oh, yeah. What would it take to make you do that? And they're like, oh, you've never happened. I'm like, nope. Don't say never. What would it take though? They're like, it would be insane. I'm like, exactly. That's what these people have experienced. That's what they're leaving. And if they get here and they're a little worked up, I understand, but just recognize you're dealing with a fellow American who has been through some bad stuff. If you take a minute and talk to them, you'll understand why. Now, that doesn't justify bad behavior once they get here, but it is real. Like, what they went through is real. So that's kind of what landed me here.
So we were in Oregon. My wife's originally from Idaho. I grew up in the south of Seattle. My dad worked and retired from Boeing. I moved to Oregon to start our family. I see Oregon just go on a decline over 8 years. By the time we leave, it was in 2020, wildfires are happening. The city's orange. They're telling you not to go outside. And I'm like, well, I got to fix up my house and get ready to sell. So I'm just like wearing masks and just like working in an orange city. Riots are happening. Somebody tried kicking our door down. I moved my family out that day. She's pregnant, about to go into labor within days. I'm sleeping on the couch at this house that we're staying at, watching YouTube lives of riots a block away with a helicopter overhead. And I'm just like, all right, family's in the back, new baby. I sleep by the front door with a gun. And I'm like, that's what we're living in now. For me, we moved over here pretty much sight unseen to Eagle. And I'm like, nobody's riding. I can go to the park and there aren't homeless people. My kids can go freaking play. It was crazy. I'm like, I can't believe a place like Idaho exists.
Here at Living in Idaho, we don't just help you buy a home. We help you design a custom scouting trip so that you can explore Idaho before making any life-changing moves, like which neighborhoods you should explore, schools to check out, and key questions to ask, all based on your goals, your budget, and your timeline. Call, text, or email, days, nights, or weekends, or use the link in the description below to schedule your free relocation planning session.
There's a question that came up in my mind when I was, when we were contemplating leaving.
Yeah.
And the question really came back to, how much would you take for your life? And the question is like, would you take 10 million bucks? Would you take 5 million? Like, what is it? Is it money? Because I know a lot of friends that live there. They hate it.
Yeah.
They don't want to be there. They don't think it's good for their kids. They're like, but dude, I make so much money.
Yeah.
Or what value do you put on being geographically close to family that you don't even see? Right? We went back for the holiday for Thanksgiving, and we stayed with my in-laws. What I've realized is there's a sentiment in the state of California that for whatever reason, California is the only option.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a marketing mechanism that happens within the state, which is like, we have the best education system. That's not true. We have the best medical system. It's not true. Google the top 25 medical systems in the country. It's not going to be it's not UCSF, right? Like, you're not bad, but you're not the best. So there's this sentiment that like, we have all of the best things. Then you get to geography, right? So first off, the idea that like the education and the quality of life is the best, that's not true. Yeah. Then you get to geography. They're like, well, we have the ocean. It's like, okay, man, how often do you go to the beach? Like, if you live in Southern California, maybe you go to the beach a lot, but you're also staving off homeless people and, getting shanked and everything. Yeah. It's like, and I know there are some wealthier areas of Southern California that have clean beaches, but it's like, well, we got the ocean, we got the mountains, you know how much it costs to go to Tahoe? Like, it's an astronomical sum of money to get up there. But one of the biggest problems that I'm still working with is there's a sentiment and a culture around work in California, especially Northern California where I was living, where it's like, dude, I will shank someone to make it here. And you have this grind. Everybody's got a gig. Everybody's got a side hustle. Maybe people have 3 side hustles, and everybody's, working for, Google, and they're starting a brewery on the side, whatever it might be. The problem is you get into things that are so time consuming that the things that are free and wonderful, like going for a hike, you never have time for.
Yeah.
So you end up exchanging the finance that you work every day for entertainment, because you only got an hour and a half. I ain't got all day. So you exchange your life for this go-getter insanity, and then you spend astronomical amounts of money to get entertainment and do fun things. And then you have people buying like super expensive cars. I am trying to rid myself of the workaholic mindset. It is incredibly hard for me to do. I was just at a meeting with the director of State Parks and Rec. Okay, I know where I went camping as a kid. Okay, if it's Mount Shasta or it's Lake Berryessa or wherever it might be. Do you know the best state parks around here? You may, because you're in the business of knowing things, but the average person who moves here doesn't have childhood memories with like Thousand Springs and Ritter Island.
Yeah.
If we do not educate the incoming generation of Idahoans on what these beautiful aspects of Idaho are, they, 1, will never patronize them, and 2, they will never defend them in 20 years. When we have to budget for like, should we keep maintaining our state parks? People are like, I don't even go to state parks. Like, I don't care, whatever. You need to educate people about the incredible things that are in Idaho. And you know what that takes? That takes time. That takes time. I have to get out of the workaholic mentality and start taking the 2 hours to drive to Thousand Springs or to Ritter Island, or go to Hagerman and see the fossils, or go to Eagle Island State Park and go camping, or go to the yurts outside of Idaho City. Like, you have all of these things. It just takes time. And that's a mentality that is very foreign to Californians.
Let's go back. What was it about Idaho? Out of any other place you could have gone?
Here's our rationale, and then I'm going to tell you what I think most Californians coming in do. So first off, what are you going to Nevada? I'm not going to Nevada. You're crazy. I'm not going to Nevada. Arizona? Get the hell out. I'm not going to Arizona. Like, if we go anywhere, why are you going to go to Arizona? I'm not going to Arizona. New Mexico? Forget it. Colorado? Already gonzo. Oregon, Washington? No.
Yeah.
Okay, Wyoming, I don't want to die of a snowstorm in June.
Yep.
No, thank you. Montana, nope, not going to Montana. So you start working through the states that are around here. You're like, hey man, you can get a 60-minute flight for $80 to Boise from Oakland. And it seems kind of cool. Okay, done. Now, embarrassingly enough, and this is very embarrassing, and I literally just started looking for expensive communities. Now, the reason I did this very specifically is because I knew the expense would fall to the school district. So I found a spot, that was an unincorporated county, Dry Creek Ranch. And I was like, oh, those are, they look like nice houses. And then I did some research on West Ada. I'm like, oh, West Ada is the best, largest school district in the state of Idaho. It has and again, it is a good public school district. It has problems. Every public school district does. And it's very large. It's 40,000 students. So then I started looking at, Meridian. I was like, that's not my jam. Yeah. I didn't want to be in downtown Boise Center. It's too busy for me. And Boise, the airport, 25, 30 minutes from the airport.
Great.
I was like, this piece of cake. So if we want to go home, it's a 25-minute drive, which it really is. And I can go from the parking lot at the Boise airport to my gate. Guess how many minutes?
12.
7.
I have. You want to hear mine? You want to hear mine?
Go.
From bed to sitting on my airplane seat.
40 minutes?
20.
Oh my God. So there you go. So it's like, listen, if we're wrong, we can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to be wrong. One thing that I think people do when they move here, if you're moving from Newport Beach and you move to Idaho, you're not moving because you feel you geographically belong.
Yeah.
Right? You're moving predominantly, at least what I've experienced with people, is you're moving because you think you will politically align with what's in Idaho. Now, the interesting thing about that is you don't know anything about Idaho politics. If you're moving here from Southern California, you are likely cherry picking 1 or 2 things. I'm not saying you shouldn't. That you think you will align with, perhaps medical freedom, perhaps public education policies, whatever they might be. Those are 2 tiny pieces of the Idaho political realm. So you think you politically align. You don't know what conservative means until you've stood in Idaho and you've spoken to a sovereign citizen on a mountainside, and you go all the way across the conservative spectrum to the woman with face tattoos and purple hair who's serving you coffee, who also considers herself to be conservative. And when you understand how to reconcile what conservative means, then you start to understand what the political mechanisms and spectrum is in Idaho. But most people move here and they're like, hey, I had a friend who had like a shotgun and he went duck hunting. So I understand what conservatives are. It's like, you, that's cute.
Fast forward, you make the move. What was the first couple months like?
We get the certificate of occupancy on the 11th and we arrive on the 12th. So it's literally the day before. We're on the way. And everybody's like, what if there's a delay? I'm like, there will not be a delay in construction.
Yeah.
Like, we are getting there. So we had a moving company come down. They brought 2 trucks. They had already unpacked, put everything into the house, but the couch wasn't put together. Like, everything's in boxes, a train wreck. And it's like, first order of business is, dude, get the kids' bed set up and make sure they have a place to sleep. Then the next day, man, I got up, I slammed coffee and I just started unpacking, and I put the kitchen together first because it was like, this is our functionality. Like, we need this. And then we started moving throughout the house. So you're doing all of these practical actions, and you're also coming to terms with this horrendous emotional loss that you have. And, reconciling this life that was you. That was it. My wife and I had a dream. We had executed on the dream. We wanted to move to Danville. We wanted to raise our children there. And my mom, for a period of time, had lived in an apartment in Danville. And I remember going to see her on the weekends and hanging out in Danville as this kid who was like, from this broken home, and being able to arrive back in Danville at 29 when we purchased our house and, have that feeling of like success, like I'm coming back to this place, but as a different person, building a business, raising children, and that was all gone. And here I am trying to put the kitchen table together and reconcile this sinking feeling in my stomach of like, what happened? Like, what happened? Not, oh my gosh, I was wrong for moving, but it was what happened, right? It was like the worst, most horrendous breakup of my life. So you're going through all these practical things, trying to find out where to get some takeout if you can find it. There's not very good Chinese food here, by the way, for anybody wondering. Get your Mongolian beef while you're still in California. Anyway, you're reconciling this emotional loss. You're dealing with the fallout of family that's obviously mad that you moved. It's all of it. You have the fallout from your social circles. You have the fallout from your family. You have the fallout professionally. You have the fallout with your spouse. Not that, my wife was angry at me. It's just, you're going through these things and your spouse is going through these things, and you're trying to like meet each other and help each other be a shoulder to cry on, and you're mad too. It's just a mess. And then you're in the middle of winter and there's like an inversion. You don't see the sun for like 2 days, and the week we moved, there was we got a snow day. It was like, I guess West Ada hadn't had a snow day for like a couple of years, but then it was like snowpocalypse. So it's freezing cold. That was like a saving grace. Like, kids are outside throwing snowballs.
All right. Once they had unpacked the boxes and settled in, a common question arose. What about schooling?
I will tell you this, man, we did not have a good experience with the public school system in California. And in fact, our kids were already in the private Catholic school system in the Bay Area. And we moved up here and we immediately like started looking for the private school system. And from friends that had moved here, they're like, hey, like, that's fine. And there's some options, but the public school system here is different. We're like, okay, we'll give the public school a shot. We had a problem in the first like week. Just totally random. Like one of my sons, one of the kids who already had disciplinary issues, it's like in any school. Anyway, we go and meet with the principal. The difference in reaction that I had with that woman was so incredible. Like, I was like, you are an educational leader. You are a true leader. I left that office with that from meeting with that woman. I was like, I trust you. I trust you 100%. Get after it. And she made good on everything she said. My son had a fantastic experience in the elementary school. It's just different. It's a whole new world, man. You're on Mars.
If somebody's watching this, they're in California, let's say they're feeling the same pain that you felt, what would you say to them?
When I finally told my SAT students, who I dearly loved, when I finally told them that I was going to move to Idaho, they were like, do you know anyone in Idaho? I was like, no, not really. I knew one person. They're like, well, is any of your family in Idaho? I'm like, no. They're like, do you have a job? I'm like, nope. And so they're all sitting here, very rational questions. They're like, why the hell are you going to move to Idaho? I was like, because I have best friends in Idaho. I've just never met them. And I told them, I was like, I have the adventure of my life in Idaho. I've just never been there to take it. And that is all true. You have the memories you have because that's where you've always been. You have the adventure of your life in Idaho. You just have to go take the adventure.